What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from DopeTechDaily.com. Today I'm bringing you guys my 1-year re-review of the Galaxy Note 8. Now of course I did review this phone about a year ago when it came out. I was a pretty big fan of it, as were a number of other reviewers. Now of course we have the Galaxy Note 9 coming out in about a week, going to be announced by Samsung, the next version in the Note series. So I wanted to review this phone again, sort of give you guys an idea of how it's fared over the last year, which is sort of a big judgment for a smartphone, how well it can hold up over a year, even 2 years. That's really a big deal to a lot of people who buy a phone. They usually keep it for a year or longer. And so I really want to spend some more time on my channel in doing these kind of long-term reviews. I feel like I haven't done enough of them over the time I've had the channel. So let's go ahead and get right into the Galaxy Note 8 and talk about performance, battery life, all those sorts of things, and how the phone has held up over time. Now, of course, the Galaxy Note is very famous for its S Pen features, and the S Pen features have really aged well, of course, because there really is no other phone that offers the S Pen features integrated into the phone like this. If you want an S Pen, a stylus built right into your phone, this is the best one you're going to get, the best integration. No one can really touch Samsung on this, so of course I have to give Samsung an A+ when it comes to the S Pen integration, because you're really not getting anything else out there on the market like this at all. Now, one thing I will say about the S Pen that I said when the phone was originally released is that the Galaxy Note 8 did not bring any really new or revolutionary S Pen features. Supposedly this year we're going to get an upgraded S Pen with the Galaxy Note 9, and I think that's something that Samsung really needed to do, is upgrade the S Pen, because last year we really didn't see that on the Galaxy Note 8. Now let's talk about the build of the Galaxy Note 8. Perhaps my biggest gripe about this phone when it came out last year, just like with the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus, is the location of the fingerprint sensor over here in the top corner right next to the camera. Now that is definitely not held up very well over time, because just 5 or 6 months later, Samsung released the Galaxy S9 Plus, which I have right here, which has this much more convenient fingerprint sensor location, and it is a pretty big deal if you use both of these phones side by side on a daily basis. The fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy Note 8 is much worse. It's much less accurate. The finger positioning is much more annoying because it's such a tall phone to reach it up there. I don't really care what anyone has to say. That fingerprint sensor location was terrible. Samsung should have never done that. And in general, that hasn't really aged very well, because now you can get an S9 Plus with a much better location that sort of fixes all of those issues. Now, other than that, the build quality is quite good, very similar obviously to the Galaxy S9 or even the Galaxy S8. You've got some nice rounded sides here. It is a little more squared off around front than the Galaxy S phones, of course. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit taller as well. The screen has held up really well over time. Of course, Samsung makes some of the best displays out there. The brightness, still everything on point. I've had no issues with my display, no burn-in or anything like that at all, and I do use a black bar here at the bottom for my buttons. I know a lot of people say that that can give you burn-in over time. I've used it and have had absolutely no issues at all. I switch back colors many times with the status bar on the bottom and still haven't had any issues with that at all. So burn-in, no problem. Screen has held up very well over time. Now the next thing, of course, is battery life, and battery life is a big one. The Galaxy Note 8, the Galaxy Note series in general as a phablet is thought of as having pretty good battery life. My battery life, of course, has degraded some over time, because that's going to happen to any phone, but it hasn't really went down significantly. I got about 5.5 hours screen on time when I originally reviewed the phone. Now I get about maybe 4 hours and 45 minutes to 5 hours. The last 10 days when I've been using this as my daily driver again, we're on the 5-hour mark, which is pretty good. That's not a lot of degradation. Now I don't probably use my phone as many cycles as many people, because of course I switch between phones throughout the year to review them, but I still think that's pretty good for 1 year of having a smartphone, the battery not degrading too much. The next thing is performance and software. The performance of the phone overall is still pretty good. When the phone got Oreo, which of course is what I'm running on the Galaxy Note 8 now, the overall experience on the phone was a little bit laggier in my opinion. The phone has not taken as well to the Oreo update as I'd like. I would say if you run the Galaxy Note 8 side by side with something like the Galaxy S9 Plus, which is also running Oreo, you're going to notice that it's a little bit laggier on the Note 8. Things take a little bit longer to open. Some of the apps even reload a little bit more, and I think that obviously has to do with software, as there really isn't a huge hardware difference in the internals really between the two phones. That would be not enough to cause that anyway. The software, of course, with Note 8 did bring a lot of useful features. I still prefer using a third-party launcher on all of my phones pretty much. As you guys can see here, I'm running Action Launcher. This phone does run Action Launcher pretty admirably overall. I haven't really had any issues with the launcher specifically itself. But like I said, Oreo just introduced a few little hiccups. Nothing that's going to make you want to stop using the phone, but it is something to be aware of over time. And that has happened with a lot of Samsung phones. When they get a new operating system, they have a few hiccups here and there. One of the best things to do is just to do a factory reset. If you can afford to do that, I know it's very annoying, but I did that and it did improve a lot of my issues after I originally installed Oreo on my Note 8. Otherwise, processors held up very well. I mean, last gen Snapdragon processor here in the US anyway. We don't have the Exynos model. If you compare it in terms of gaming performance and things like that to the Galaxy S9 Plus, you're really not going to notice on a day-to-day basis, if you're just looking at the game and playing the game, a huge performance difference. Now obviously if you run them side by side and you open up games, try to do a speed test on purpose, you'll probably notice some difference, but you're not going to notice it if you're just running it and playing the game. It's not going to bother you at all. What about the camera? So the camera is another interesting one. It was Samsung's first modern phone with a dual camera on the back, and of course they updated that with the Galaxy S9 Plus. It's got a little bit different orientation and array for the camera on the S9 Plus. I would say the Galaxy Note 8 camera actually didn't hold up that well over time. That's just my personal opinion. Overall, a lot of the features that you can do with the dual camera, they weren't that great on the Galaxy Note 8, and the software wasn't that great, especially things for like Samsung's portrait mode that they introduced, and those sort of things like getting the background effect to blur things out. The software wasn't that great, a lot of soft edges. Samsung improved some of that on the S9 Plus, and I know some of those updates were supposed to make their way to the Note 8, but it doesn't really seem to have improved a lot over time. Also, there are a lot of other phones that came out around the same time as the Note 8 that had arguably better or as good cameras. I would say the Pixel 2 XL, which I have right here, another phone that I use often, and also the iPhone X and even the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. Those are all phones that came out around the same time as the Note 8 that in my opinion had arguably better cameras. So is it a bad camera? No, but in terms of camera value, if you're looking for the best possible camera at the time and also over the lifespan of the phone, I don't think the Galaxy Note 8 necessarily offered that. So overall, the Note 8 was a pretty safe phone for Samsung. They released it after the Note 7, which had a huge debacle, of course, with all the exploding phones catching fire and the recall. So they did a good job, I think, of putting out a solid phone that checked all the boxes for most people. And a year later, it's pretty much what you would expect. It's a good flagship. It's not slowing down to the point where you don't want to use it. Battery life is still very usable. The camera is still good. Not top class, so that's the one place where it probably could have been a little better considering the phone started out priced around $1,000. If you bought it at the beginning, you would hope to get a little bit better camera longevity over the course of time. But with Android phones, you're always going to have new cameras coming out every month. So I would say if in 2018 you're not too happy with the Note 9 next week and you really need a phablet, I'd say the Note 8 is still a great choice. If you want that cutting edge technology, of course, and new S Pen features, you'll have to spring for the Note 9. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Note 8 in 2018, and there's a lot of amazing deals on the Note 8, so that is a compelling reason to go out and pick up this phone. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much my overview, my re-review of the Galaxy Note 8 for 2018. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon so I can make future videos like this. Find me at dopetechdaily.com, Google+, Instagram, and Twitter. The link's in the description. Also find me writing at gadgethacks.com where I write about Android. Appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.